Okay. Hi, I'm Marissa COF. One of the most prevalent problems in American society today is that of obesity. At the launch of her new movement, Let's Move, Michelle Obama stated, "The physical and emotional health of an entire generation and the economic health and security of our nation is at stake." In a recent interview with Good Morning America, she also stated that she is striving to improve the quality of food in schools. Serving and selling junk food in public schools poses many risks. Not only does the consumption of junk food affect a child's ability to concentrate in class, but it also creates unhealthy eating habits that last a lifetime. Bad eating habits lead to health conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, some of the leading causes of death in our society. By prohibiting the service and selling of junk food in public school systems, children would perform better academically and lead healthier lifestyles in their future, thus reducing the amount of people who suffer from these life-threatening health conditions. According to letsmove.gov, over the past 3 decades, childhood obesity rates in America have tripled. And today, nearly 1 in 3 children in America are overweight or obese. If we don't solve this problem, 1/3 of children born in 2000 or later will suffer from diabetes at some point in their lives. Many others will face chronic obesity-related health problems like heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer, and asthma. Michelle Obama stresses the important societal roles play in ending this epidemic. She says everyone has a role to play in reducing childhood obesity, including parents, elected officials from all levels of government, schools, healthcare professionals, faith-based and community-based organizations, and private sector companies. Public schools should no longer give students the option of junk food. Instead, they should introduce foods that taste good and make them feel good. With more than 31 million children participating in the National School Lunch Program and more than 12 million participating in the Breakfast School Program, good nutrition at school is more important than ever. With students eating around 2 meals a day at school, not to mention numerous snacks during breaks, it is safe to say that most of the food they eat is at school. Regardless of what they eat once they are home, students will still consume at least half, if not more, of their daily calorie intake at school lunch or breakfast. If those calories were coming from nutritious options such as fruits and vegetables instead of chips and cookies, then students would likely have more energy to complete tasks such as homework and participate in after-school sports because they would have an increased amount of energy. In 2012, the U.S. Department of Agriculture released new rules that were intended to boost the nutritional quality of food. With this revision, while this revision ensured the foods being served would have more whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and less fat and sodium, they varied from age group to age group. Elementary school students' lunch showed the greatest change nutritionally. Middle school and high school students, on the other hand, were simply given more options, while none of the other fatty foods were eliminated. Studies show that from ages 8 to 18 are more likely to choose greasy, sodium-filled options over foods with nutritional value. If more public schools got on board with the efforts to eliminate junk food, our society would change drastically. Students would become more focused in class, which would ultimately improve academic performance. Students would be introduced to healthy food that tastes great and satisfies them. Students would learn lifelong skills for eating healthy, which would lower the risks for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and other health issues. The benefits that would come from the removal of unhealthy food options are vast and tie into almost every aspect of improving the American society. Once again, as Michelle Obama stated, the physical and emotional health of an entire generation and the economic health and security of our nation is at stake. It is the responsibility of our public schools to take this matter into their hands. Not doing so would be a disservice to the youth of America.
All right. The proposition is buried in the opening section. It's a long phrase. It's got 3 or 4 dependent clauses in it, so I think it needs to be simplified, and you need to indicate that that is in fact the argument that you're making. There's a huge presupposition in it that there is crappy food that is part of the school lunch programs, and you need to show that that is in fact the case. You talk about new guidelines from the USDA and that it doesn't eliminate alternative bad choices, but I don't get any data on what the bad choices are, how widespread that is. I got good data on how important the school meals are to kids' daily diet. I thought that was pretty straightforward, but what I didn't get was a lot of information that those 31 million kids who get school lunches, are only 5 million of them have access to healthy options, or 20 million of them eat crappy stuff. I didn't hear any of that data. I just heard this link that suggested that it's the fatty foods that's bad for them and we need to make sure that they eat better foods, but I didn't hear that they don't have the option for those better foods in the argument. In fact, I heard the opposite. I heard that the USDA is increasing those options. Your argument seems to be that the students won't choose that option unless we take away the others. And I think that you need to show us that more about the others. I think that's what's missing in the argument. All right, and it needs a stronger structure because there are a lot of claims here and they all tend to run together. There's stuff about obesity and health that I don't think there's any dispute on. There is stuff about what the impact of these things would be on kids' activities and behaviors that needs a lot more development if you're trying to convince us that this is important to act on. All right.